Welcome back to Red Wolf Roundtable. I'm Jacob Peter. This is Caton Marsh and Miss Julia McKee joining us today on the show. We're going to talk about baseball, and more baseball today. That's pretty much all that's going on here on campus. Talk a little bit about the transfer portal in the rebuild season for basketball. And, you know, we might touch on some football. You never know. NFL draft is coming up. So stay tuned here on Red Wolf Roundtable. We will cover all of the bases.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Welcome back here on Red Wolf Roundtable. Gonna touch on some transfer portal stuff here on the basketball side of things first. For the men's team, a guy I'm really excited about. Okay, you guys all know this. Lane Taylor, an Arkansas native. I watched this guy play in high school for Farmington. And he also did some really good things for the Central Arkansas at UCA a few years ago. Had a really good freshman season at UCA. And he's been at Murray State the past season, and now he's coming back to his home state to play for the Red Wolves. I'm excited to see the shooting that this young man can do from beyond the arc. I know he's a very good shooter. We've also got Jordan Pike, a transfer from Incarnate Word, and then Najaya Coleman, who's the incoming freshman that we just signed the other day. I don't know if y'all have any thoughts on this.
I haven't really touched up on it, but with how you have talked about Lane Taylor, I think that would be a great plug-and-play from losing someone like Christian Harmon. And then obviously that we kind of talked about the players that we kept last year or from this past year, knowing Royal Blue and how he can facilitate just passing the ball and getting things done, not shooting, and then passing it to maybe Lane Taylor beyond the arc. I think that can be the chemistry that we had maybe not seen as much.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lane Taylor was kind of reminiscent of a Joseph Pinion that we had last year. I think that's a very good comparison to have.
He had a lethal release too.
Yeah. He's a very quick shooter. He knows his place, and I think he could kind of take over that role of Joseph Pinion or a Joey Chama even. So some of that, a guy that we're losing, another guy to come in to replace him. For the women's team, Angela Carroll, transfer from Texas State, Jaden Elam from South Georgia Tech, and Amina Gray and Tanaya Davis, both freshmen incoming. So lots of talent coming into A-State this year to look forward to if you're looking forward to some basketball. That'll be, it's still a little while out, and we've still got a lot of big window left in this transfer portal. And hopefully, we can get a few more good talents out of the portal and a few more good signees. We'll take a little break here, and then we'll go into some baseball. We'll be right back.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Welcome back here on Red Wolf Roundtable. We're going to talk about the sport that's been taking up most of all of our time here recently, baseball. Lots of stuff going on the diamond for the Red Wolves. Had a big series this past weekend against number 11 Coastal Carolina. And we'll go into talking about, how that went for them. Game one, start with that one. A-State lost 10-7.
This was a very tough loss, to say the least. It was one of those games where we're sitting there, start of the game, it's like, wow, this is going great. How much better can it get? And it just keeps piling on. The pitching looked great, especially from a team like Coastal that can hit really well. And the offense pushing on all pedals like they have been all year. Come bottom of the ninth. And, at 7 runs in the bottom of the ninth. They take not the bottom of the ninth, top of the ninth, I apologize. And they go up 10-7. And it was heartbreaking.
It truly was heartbreaking. We had really high hopes, especially about midway through this game. Big weekend, and so nerves were kind of high. We were excited to see what the team was going to do. Derek Martinez with his 10th home run of the season. Lane Walton with his 11th, hitting it 434 feet. Like, we did really good. But as Coach told us in the post-game huddle, Coastal knows how to play small ball. They know how to do it. They know how to make plays, how to find the gaps, and just take it one ball at a time. And our guys, they like to get a little ahead of themselves, and they like to kill the ball. They either don't hit the ball at all or they kill it. There's no in-between. So I think later on in the weekend we found out that sometimes sac flies and our RBIs, those count just as much as hitting it over the fence. It just took this one game for us to really figure that out, that we don't have to kill the ball to have a good ball game.
This was a team that we kind of talked on and touched on before going into the series was they had 90 stolen base attempts before our series. And what was really apparent was that they would bunt a lot to move runners up. And they would accompany it with the stolen bases. And I think Amundsen did a really great job of throwing people out quite constantly. And I knew that was going to be one of the challenges that kind of presented, and he performed. But that being said, that was one of the things that they kind of took advantage of throughout this weekend, and I think we picked up on it. And we did the same thing, kind of like what you were talking about, was the small ball. You just get someone on base, steal, bunt, and you're going to get someone moving forward, and it's going to score quite a bit. And that's what happened a lot.
Yeah, that reminds me of like the 1980s St. Louis Cardinals teams. They had kind of like the small ball. They not a very big home run hitting team, but they knew how to get on base and they knew how to advance the runners. Going into game two, evening Saturday game, another A-State loss. This one not as bad, 4-3. New attendance record, by the way. We've set another attendance record this season. That's the 4th time we've broken it this year alone, with 2,112 people, which over 2,000 people finally. But yeah, this game, Lane Walton was 1 for 2 with 2 walks. I was very This is something I wanted to touch on. I was very glad to see that he was more patient at the plate this time. You know, he's a big strikeout guy. I believe he leads the team in strikeouts. He leads the team in home runs, so he's kind of a Kyle Schwarber type, you know, either you hit it a long way or you don't hit it at all. But I was finally glad to see him show some plate discipline. He drew, like I said, 2 walks and then went 1 for 2. And had an RBI. I think he did really good this game. And I think, you know, I hope to see a little bit more of that from him in the future.
Yeah, I think this series as a whole was like a huge morale booster for him in a sense because he wasn't in the lineup against Memphis, if I'm correct. And he just kind of needed to work on what he was struggling with, that being strikeouts, and to go into a game with Coastal and homer right after Derek Martinez and continue that play throughout the weekend. This is going to help him tremendously because we all know that baseball is one of the hardest sports to get out of a slump. And when you're in it, you're stuck in mud. So for him to come alive at such a big game with all these people watching him, I think sky's the limit for him moving on, and hope to see the best for him.
Another player I wanted to highlight from this game was Jack Nelson. Nelson went 5 innings, had 8 strikeouts and no walks. He did very good this game. It was a very back-and-forth game. I was there for this game. Me and my friend were watching that from the stands. Very good ball game. If you want to go watch a good ball game, go watch Saturday's game. But unfortunately, you know, it didn't come out the way that Arkansas State wanted. But very good pitching from the starting staff so far this season. But I think we wanted to talk about the bullpen issues a little bit.
Yeah, I do think we were looking at it before the game, before this. Jack Nelson actually leads the team in strikeouts as well. Like he is our Saturday guy. That spot is secure, and he knows what he's doing. Like he's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving into the final game of the series, finally an A-State dub. This is only Coastal Carolina's 2nd conference loss of the season. So good for the Red Wolves to kind of give them that. They swept everybody else, I believe, except South Alabama. But it's a very good game, very good offensive game. And I think we kind of gave them a taste of their own medicine in this game, the small ball. No big flies in this game. This was kind of just, you know, hit at the plate, you know, hit after hit. We had, I think somebody had some stolen bases in this game. One guy struck out swinging, and we had a run scored off of that, which was good base running by our guys. I want to know what y'all saw during this game.
Yeah, overall, I think we kind of knew going into this game that Dylan Farley, being the Sunday guy who he is, great pitcher, so we didn't really have any doubts about the starter. The offense being the way it was this whole weekend was another question that we didn't really have because they've been great. So touching base on what you said, playing that small ball, I think we kind of adapted to what Coastal was doing. And as you said, giving a taste of their own medicine. And I think it prevailed. Overall, I think this weekend as a whole showed how good Arkansas State really is. I know we're not ranked. I think we should be. I'll always vouch for that. I think we're 50th in the nation, give or take. I think we're way better than that. But overall, I think the Sun Belt is just a power conference for baseball. And to see a team that's usually so dominant throughout the nation kind of have problems against Arkansas State is huge for not only the players, the team, but also hopefully the fans moving forward. This can give us some more funding for baseball, get us a new stadium.
Defending national runner-ups were Coastal Carolina. They lost to LSU last year in the national championship College World Series. So very big showing for Arkansas State this weekend. Did you see anything from this game that you thought was like just stuck out to you?
Like we touched on, this was a really big pitcher's duel, especially for the first 4 innings. There wasn't really any plays. Like we were shutting them down. They were also shutting us down. So it was kind of like a back and forth. Dylan Farley with the win and Brett Foss with the save. They both did phenomenal. And like Caton said, we did play small ball. We had a bunch of RBIs, a couple singles, a couple sac flies. We really took so I always say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. We took what they were successful at and we turned it, and we were like, okay, this is what they're good at. This is what we can do to also be better and not just go up against them, but also learn for the rest of the season going into more conference play and more on the road.
Absolutely. I did want to say Brett Foss picked up the save. Sixth save of the season for him, a 2-inning save. So pretty big outing for Foss. Then we went to Tuesday's game. Southern Illinois played up there in the southern part of Illinois. A 6-run second inning for the Red Wolves. They win this one 11-5 against the Salukis.
I'll let you start first.
This, right off the bat, redshirt junior Kyle Tangler got his first outing as a Red Wolf, and this was truly something to see. We were really excited to see him get his time at the mound, especially coming from ASU Mountain Home, where he played there. So this was his first outing, and then we also saw Taylor C. get some playing time as well. Didn't do as well as we had hoped or expected, but still, any experience is good experience compared to none. We also had two of our other guys who have never gotten any playing time, Trimble and Telfer, also in the bullpen. So I think that our midweek games are when we can truly build our bullpen compared to our weekend guys being set. But this was really good. Played small ball, except for Patrick getting his 7th home run and a triple, and Evan Griffiths with 6 RBIs.
Yeah, big. I was just about to point out those two guys as well. Ings Cove has done very good for this A-State team. Of course, he's one that returned from last year. And then Evan Griffiths, a double and 6 RBIs. 6 RBIs is a very big number for him. I mean, that's more than half of the runs that they scored. So, yeah, very big game for A-State.
Best walk-up song, too. Evan Griffiths' best walk-up song.
Oh, yeah, Evan Griffiths for sure. And then, yeah, we'll be right back, and we will talk about what's to come this week for A-State baseball.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Welcome back as we wrap up this show of Red Wolf Roundtable. We're going to talk about what is to come this week for the Red Wolves on the Diamond. Big series this weekend against Louisiana Monroe. The boys go down to Louisiana and take on the Red Hawks, I believe.
This is a team that we shouldn't doubt, like other sports. Let's just say that ULM's usually a team that doesn't really do much.
You know, well, okay, so I will say their athletic program is not in the greatest position, but their baseball team
is great.
Is probably the highlight of what they're doing.
I don't know where they stand currently, but I know, aren't they top 5 in the Sun Belt?
I do
correct?
believe, yes.
Yeah, I think the team as a whole, they bat around 300, if not north of that. Team OPS is around 890, which is really high. I think their slugging is 440, and their on-base percentage is also about 41%. So this is a team that shouldn't really have any doubts when it comes to offensive side. They out-hit teams for home runs, for power, and they've had a pretty good schedule. I think they've had some questions like losing to UCA, But overall, this is not a team that you should put past when considering the sport.
Speaking of UCA, our midweek game this week will be it's here in Jonesboro versus the Bears of Central Arkansas. Julia, you wanted to talk about that game just a little bit.
Yes, I love a good baseball in-state matchup. I love it. It really ignites the competitiveness in me. This is one of two. I believe it's also next week when we go to Conway and we play them. I think UCA is very inconsistent with their baseball this year. They turn around and, like we talked about pre-show, they beat Vanderbilt and then they turn around and they lose to Pine Bluff. So I think that them being inconsistent is really something that our Red Wolves can capitalize on, especially what we've showed thus far this season. So I'm really excited to see this game on Tuesday.
Absolutely. Again, Louisiana Monroe this weekend, UCA on Tuesday. So stay tuned for your Red Wolves baseball action as they continue their trek through the Sun Belt this season. And that's all, I believe. Well,
Got one more thing.
You've got something to add, okay?
We did mention the NFL draft coming up here soon. We had Pro Day about a month ago, maybe a little bit less than that. And we have a couple players going into the NFL draft, some of the key names being Corey Rucker, obviously being here for given his time, given 4,000 yards receiving, being the all-time leading Sun Belt receiver, and setting milestones at Arkansas State. You have DeMarcus Hendricks, and then you have Trenton Allen-Yao, who I think all have a pretty good shot at being drafted, Corey Rucker being around that day 3 spot. So a lot of high hopes and good history coming up for Arkansas State football. That being next week, I'm sure we'll talk about it just a little bit, but root those guys on as they go on to their pro journey.
Absolutely. We will touch on that a little bit more next week, as you said. Again, NFL draft coming up, and I'm looking for Corey Rucker to do very well in his draft stock.
Baltimore?
So thank you for watching this episode of Red Wolf Roundtable. Jacob Hader, Caton Marsh, Julia McKee saying so long and Wolves up.